Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video we are going to look back at all of my Marvel Legend pickups of 2025, and we are going to decide which is my number one for 2025. So right off the bat we are going to eliminate the figures from the front row, because those figures, although all of these I picked up this year, not all of them are from 2025. So what we're going to do for this list is just count figures, Marvel Legends that released in 2025. Some of these figures have already been modified a little bit, and we'll talk about those when we get to them. But yeah, so we're gonna start eliminating some figures right now, and when we get to a more manageable quantity of figures to get in the shot, I'll change camera angle. But this is the only way that I could get everything in the same shot, given my present situation. All right, so well, like I said, all of these figures that are in the two front rows were picked up this year, but are figures that are older. So most of these came out last year, but I only got until early this year. So for instance, if you subscribe to the channel, then be checking out the channel. Thank you very much. The Secret Wars Wolverine, Spider-Man, the Secret Wars Titanium, the retro carded Iron Man Mark 20 or whatever it's called, and the Secret Wars Captain America. All of those figures released last year. I even spoke about how I would have liked to have picked up Captain America and the Iron Man figures last year, because those would have been included in my list of top figures or top Marvel Legend figures for 2024. Yeah, all of these. So then I picked up most recently, out of these figures, I picked up the Firestar and the Iceman. The Firestar I got on sale on Amazon. The Iceman I picked up at the local toy flea market that we have here in TJ, as well as the Green Goblin and the Doctor Doom. The Green Goblin is a couple years old. I believe that Doctor Doom either released 2 years ago or last year. I think he released 2 years ago. And then let's see. And yeah, so we're going to eliminate all of these guys, but if I had to include them in the list, I probably would have kept the Iron Man and the Doctor Doom as a part of as part of the dramatic countdown as we dwindle down the number of figures until we're left with the final one. But again, so by process of elimination, we're going to get rid of all of these guys. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the figures from 2024 that I got at the start of this year or throughout the year. But here are all the Marvel Legends that released, as far as I remember, this year in 2025. So just to run down, right? Going from left to right, we've got the White Queen, the Emma Frost White Queen from the X-Men 97 waves. If you notice, I've got two, and I'll talk about that in just a second. We've got the Dark Miss Marvel, aka, or I think they call her Warbird, but I believe it's like Moonstone pretending to be Miss Marvel. And then we got the recently released um, the Phoenix, the Rachel Summers Phoenix, and then also from the same wave we got the gray suit, short-haired Black Widow, and then we've got the Enchantress. I believe she's not part of the comic book wave. She's part of a different wave. We've got the Weapon X Wolverine. We've got the Maximum Spider-Man next to him, uh, and then we've got the Mystique that came out in the retro card. We've got the Wolverine from the Gamerverse 2 pack. And then we've got the Storm in the retro card, but with the black suit. We've got the Spider-Man 77, aka I believe the actor's name, Chris Mark Hammond. Anyway, the TV show, the 70s TV show, Spider-Man, American TV show, because there was also the Japanese TV show. And then we got the Gamerverse Psylocke. We've got the comic book wave Silver Surfer. We got the War Machine from the Gamerverse. We got the Punisher from the 2 pack, which comes with the Nick Fury. Also Gamerverse. We've got the Cable X-Men '97. We've got the Captain America with the Gamerverse. Silver Samurai Gamerverse that came with the Wolverine. We've got the Omega Red, and then Gamerverse. We've got the Gamerverse Venom. These two came together, I believe. And then we've got the most recent Fantastic. Fantastic Four carded She-Hulk. We've got the Gamerverse Juggernaut. We got the Maximum Hulk. And finally, we've got the Gamerverse Thanos. So, let's start eliminating some figures. And right off the bat, we're going to eliminate the Enchantress. It's a nice update I have. Well, I had the previous release. I got it mostly for custom fodder. But looking at comparing the two, the head sculpt is the same. It just has updated paint and updated articulation as far as the arms, and of course the pinless legs. So that's the only bit of updating that they did, and the paint as well. I mean, it's the same scheme, but I believe they just use different colorations. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a decent figure. Um, the face print is definitely better than the previous one. That's why I got it. But I'm still looking to maybe customize this figure to have it look a little more like a particular version of Enchantress that I'm hoping to customize her into. So we're eliminating her first. Next, we are going to eliminate the Phoenix, the Rachel Summers. Again, it's a fine figure. It's a decent, body mold that they used. I wish they would have used the one from the Black Widow with the articulation at the for the ab crunch. Again, I don't know why Marvel refuses to just commit and just update everything now. I mean, they've already done the pinless double jointed arms for the females, as well as the pinless legs. So just give us the new articulation for the body, like the Black Widow body with the ab crunch and the shoulder, and the butterflies. Just do it. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know why Hasbro does this. But anyway, this figure is again a pretty. It's a pretty basic. It's all red plastic figure with the studs. Um, I have her with the, well, I guess you could call her the powered up face sculpt. She comes one with no face paint and eyes, but I like to display her like this with her wings spread out. So, but for the for the video, I had to remove a bunch of stuff, bunch of accessories for a lot of figures because I wouldn't be able to stand the figures. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing too much to this figure. So, it's just a standard figure with standard articulation. So we're eliminating her next. Next, we are going to remove the Weapon X Wolverine. It's a fine figure. It does what it's meant to accomplish. Uh, it's not a bad figure, like I said. Like I said in the video, mine had a particular issue with one of the legs being a little looser here by the hip. I've since done some jigging to keep the ball joint from slipping out of its socket. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a decent Weapon X. If you had a previous release, you may not need this updated one, but I recommend to get it because of the face sculpt, the one that doesn't have the helmet, which looks pretty much like the Barry Windsor Smith artwork. But again, one of the detriments to this figure is that it's still using like old uh, still using old technology in terms of like articulation. It still uses these ugly butterflies that just go forward and backwards. Soon, when we get to one of the more modern figures, I'll explain uh, what I what I'm looking for now in terms of like what Marvel Legends should start offering. But yeah, we're just limited. I mean, nice figure, um, tons of potential for customization, like repainting the controls here, the helmet. I haven't repainted the claws in silver yet, so it's an all right figure. But take it or leave it if you already had the previous one. Next up, we are going to eliminate the the Spider-Man 77. Um, so this is the Spider-Man that I grew up with. As a kid, I was watching the TV show and the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon. Again, it's a reuse of the Japanese version of Spider-Man that released um, last year or 2 years ago, I believe. So they just reused the same body mold, which is lacking, as far as articulation, because it doesn't have like butterflies. It still has the swivel waist and the basic ab crunch, which I mean it's all right, I guess. But my main issue with this figure is the size of the head. To me, it looks like it's a little too big. The head, I actually don't have it all the way down. If I press down, it almost looks like he has no neck. So I usually keep the ball. I'm sorry, the ball joint resting just a little bit as it makes contact with the inside of the port for the ball joint. And now you can see now he has some neck. But yeah, I still think the head sculpt is. I'm sorry, the size of the head. Yeah, is a little bit too big. It's maybe like 1 or 2 millimeters too tall, too big. So, but yeah. I mean, it's a fine, decent figure. I like to display him like this, without the exposed web shooter or anything like that. I just want to keep them basic, looking like a basic Spider-Man. You know. Next up, we are going to eliminate the Black Widow. Again, amazing figure in terms of like, again, what Hasbro should be doing with the Marvel Legends females. You know, like I mentioned earlier with the Phoenix. You know, just give us this updated body, or even better, update this body and start using double ball pegs. Because if you use double ball pegs, you're going to get a better looking. Or first of all, you can finally give female figures a waist turn instead of a diaphragm turn, right? So that's number one. And number two, you already have a pretty good basic female sculpt in terms of like proportions and all of that. You can just update proportions as you see fit for different characters, which we will see with my next elimination. I'm already count, so you already know it's gonna be a female. Um, but uh, but yeah, the head sculpt. Yeah, I believe it's the same as the previous release that used this suit, which is a couple years old now, about 4 years old, I believe. So they just updated the face paint, and it looks great. I already have the first release that had the well, not of this suit, but that used this body, the black suit, Black Widow, the deluxe edition. So so yeah, I really don't have any complaints about this figure, but I mean, is it like top 10, top 15 of Marvel Legends of 2025? I mean, it depends on what it is that you're looking for in particular, you know. Um, but yeah, it's a good figure. It's a good figure. All right, all right. So moving on to the next elimination, which I kind of almost gave away, but the Dark Miss Marvel, or what? Warbird. I'm sorry, the Warbird, Dark Warbird, aka Moonstone. Um, so again, you see here that they did give her the updated um, uh, body mold, which was also given to the previous Warbird, the black with the black suit with the lightning bolt, right? So yeah, so they, for this figure they did update the mold for her upper chest. Um, her proportions are definitely her proportions are definitely more different than the Black Widows. But I mean, this is what I mean by, they have a decent body mold, so just update certain features, and you should be good to go. Um, I really like this how this turned out. I'm hoping that we eventually get a updated Captain Marvel in her more modern suit, because when I started collecting, uh, when I got back into collecting like 5 or 6 years ago, that figure had just come out, and I wasn't collecting Marvel Legends then, and yeah, in that version of Carol Danvers definitely needs an update for sure. She's already gone through like 3 different versions of that modern blue and red costume, so I don't know which one they're gonna give us. We definitely need an update on that one. But yeah, I mean, this is again a solid release. Might have made a top 10, um, but again, nothing overly like spectacular about her. You know what I mean? But yeah. Next up, we are going to eliminate the Silver Surfer. Um, the thing about this Silver Surfer that I really like is that the paint job that they gave him suits the character in that it came out really shiny. I added an extra coat of a gloss finish just to protect the paint. And I believe it might have even dulled down the finish just a little bit. I've got the surfboard here, and if we can compare finishes, you can see how the well, no, I think the finish, the gloss, extra gloss finish that I gave him is actually doing its job. But anyway, um, the Silver Surfer again, it's just a basic figure. There's nothing really to it except that they chose a good body sculpt. But one of the things that I noticed is that it almost weighs nothing. Yeah, I forget where I made a comment that I felt like the figure was made of like that model kit plastic. But I don't know. I don't know if it was the paint itself and how it felt, but the figure is very light. So I don't know. It almost like I said, it almost feels like they used. I don't know what the name of the plastic is that they used for the upper chest versus like the rest of the figure, well, which is a little softer plastic, but this is a little harder plastic. So it almost feels like the whole figure was made out of this. It's just I don't know, a little hollow plastic instead of the solid regular plastic from like the normal figures. But again, decent paint job. Or like I said, it's a great. It's all just a silver figure. But as far as like the features and all of that, it came out good. So it's good to have a Silver Surfer in my collection. So yeah. Next up, we are going to eliminate the Silver Samurai. Again, this was an older figure that was included in the Gamerverse 2 pack with a Wolverine. Yeah, they didn't update they didn't make him pinless. Uh, yeah, both legs and arms are not pinless, excuse me. But the figure itself, I believe they updated the chest and some of the molding, I believe. I mean, I don't have the other one, so I don't know exact. I don't recall all of the specific updates that they gave them. A new heft sculpt, I believe. But the good thing about this figure is that it has customizable potential, mainly giving him a completely silver finish. So that's gonna be something that I'll do in the future. Um, Maybe not to the extent that he's going to look like the Silver Surfer, but maybe, who knows? I don't know. Because the Silver Surfer, even though it says it in the name silver, he's really mostly more like a chrome. While this guy is actually, more, he actually does use like silver in his, for like his body armor and all of that. So, it's like I said, it's a decent figure for a character if you don't own him and you got the Gamerverse 2 pack specifically for the Wolverine and you didn't have a Silver Samurai in your collection. It's someone you can add to your Wolverine Rogues gallery to go with a Sabretooth and Omega Red. So again, it's a fine figure, but nothing overly spectacular, right? All right, next we are going to eliminate Let's see if that doesn't cause any troubles. The War Machine. War Machine came in the 2-pack with Omega Red. Both figures are reuse of older molds, but updated, I guess. I believe this guy was updated to the pinless technology. Well, at least for the arms, not the legs. Um, Again, so you saw that I showed you the Iron Man Mark 20 before. That's the only Marvel Legends Iron Man that I have, and this is the only War Machine that I have in my collection. So it's good to have a nice a representation of Rhodey in my collection. Um, Again, this could use some paint. This marbly plastic that Hasbro used is fine, I guess, but essentially the suit should be like a metallic finish. So that's something that I'll probably do in the future. It should have like the color of the mask, a metallic blue finish. So that's what we're gonna be working on this. And again, like I said, it's an older figure, so I believe they updated the gauntlets, and that's about it. I don't know. But yeah, again, it's just good to have a decent representation of War Machine in the collection. All right. Next, we are going to eliminate. Where are we going to eliminate? Venom. The Venom came. Which one did he came with? Did I already? I forget who he came. Oh, he came with the Captain America, right? Um, the Gamerverse 2-pack. Um, Again, I wasn't collecting Marvel Legends when the previous Venom came out in this, using this body mold, I believe, which in the black and white. So I didn't have a Venom in my collection until now. Now I have a Carnage. Now I have a Venom, um, and it's again, it's a great looking Venom. I don't mind that he's blue. I mean, if I wanted to, I could just add some shading, some black shading over the figure, so that you could say that the blue is the highlighted color of the symbiote and all of that. You know, so I don't mind him that he's not black. I like the head sculpt. I don't care much for the one that has the half exposed face head. But but this face sculpt uh, is pretty cool. But again, Marvel needs to start updating this mid torso abdomen area on their figures. It's almost ridiculous that half of their collection you can't turn at the waist. So they should start doing the double ball peg thing immediately, starting 2026. But yeah, it's a decent. I mean, I believe this uses the same body mold as the Omega Red. So yeah, I mean, again, decent figure, nothing overly spectacular. If you didn't have a Venom and you didn't have an Omega Red, I'm sorry, and a Captain America in your collection, then this Venom suits perfectly fine. Okay, so I did some rearranging just since we've dwindled down the number of figures. Um, and yeah, so now I can move the camera in a little more better position. So I pretty much have an idea of what my top five, well, maybe not my top five, but the last five figures are going to be. Um, but like I said, the way I'm eliminating figures has nothing to do in terms of like I'm going in a specific order. But But yeah, pretty much I kind of have an idea of which figures will be in my top five, and I kind of know which one is going to be the last two. But that's for you to find out as I next eliminate the Mystique figure. So Mystique again. I didn't have a Mystique in my collection. Um, I was close to maybe getting the VHS version that released. Um, but nah, I decided, once this one was announced, I thought, well, why not? Again, it suffers the same thing from the Rachel Summers Phoenix. It's a basic body mold. They didn't use the updated Black Widow body, which is a shame for this character, who definitely uses her athleticism for espionage and spying and all of that. Um, and, um, and she would have been a perfect candidate to update to that new body mold. So instead, they just reused the last body mold from her last release, and I believe it's the same head sculpt as well with updated paint. Um, I believe they did update her for with the double jointed elbows. So I mean, it's a decent update if you didn't have the previous Black Widow. I'm sorry, Mystique. But again, there's nothing overly spectacular about her. Um, if, like I said, perfect candidate for a body mold update. So I don't know why they didn't do it for this release. Next up, we are going to eliminate the Gamerverse Thanos. Thanos came with the Psylocke. I think most of us got the Gamerverse 2 pack for the Psylocke. Um, but I actually didn't have again, you're gonna hear me say that a lot. I didn't have a Thanos in my collection, so it's good to kill two birds with one stone, and as you would say. Um, it's good to have like one of the main villains of the Marvel universe in my collection. Same for like the Doctor Doom. Even though I have no members of the Fantastic Four, and even though I have like a replacement member in the She-Hulk, I don't have any members of the Fantastic Four, but I needed a Doctor Doom in my collection, so that's why I got that Doctor Doom that I showed earlier at the beginning of the video. And having Thanos in the collection just adds another notch to the, or you could say, I can mark one off the checklist, you could say, right? Um, but all in all, I believe this guy was supposed to be a build a figure. And I mean, I think they updated like the boots, the his shoulder thingies here, the crown on his crest on his helmet, and the face paint and all of that. I mean, they updated slightly some stuff on the figure, but he's a big bruiser, so you don't need this guy to be like super posable and all of that. Um, Although I would have wished that they would have given him at least the basic, what do you call it? The basic butterflies, so he could shrug his shoulders forward and backwards, for certain poses and action poses. But again, um, if you didn't have a Thanos in your collection, it's a good update. Even though he's not comic book accurate, uh, in terms of like the look, I actually don't mind that he has the high crests here. It almost suits the character. So yeah, I mean, it's a good figure, but it's not like top 10 worthy, I would say. If they had done some updating on the figure, I don't know, like uh, a better waist, and like I said, a better. Now he could have used the diaphragm upper, the ball peg diaphragm, But anyway, decent figure to have in your collection if you didn't have him already. Next up, we are going to cut this pair right here. So this is the White Queen from the X-Men 97 wave that released this year. As you can see, I got two. One I didn't particularly need. Well, I got two because I knew I was going to customize them. But once the Mystique was announced and saw that she had the Black Queen alternate head sculpt, well, I decided to switch plans because I planned on updating one of the Emma Frost into her more classic 90s look, which I did right here, and keep the other one stock, on an older version and a newer version. But once I saw that the Mystique came with the 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 Black Queen head sculpt, I switched plans, and when I did my custom Goblin Queen, I didn't use all of the spare parts for the second figure, so these are the legs that are I'm gonna use for my custom Black Queen when I complete the repaint on this. And this is the custom White Queen that I used using the whatever you call this cape that comes from the lady Loki, the female Loki. I believe I also used her legs, her lower legs. You can see that there's some spacing in there. The upper legs don't fit perfectly with the thighs that ended up using. So I'm still debating if I want to switch back to her older legs or do some remolding and just try and finish out the transition from the thighs to the upper hip and just eliminate, just so it doesn't look like this little ugly spacing. But I gave her little thingies on her boots. If you saw the shorts that I have on my video, you see how I used the Jim Lee trading card from the old X-Men trading card set from the early 90s as my basis for this White Queen. So yeah, the figure itself again was fine when she released. Um, they did a good job. They did a good job. But again, I wouldn't say that the figure, the stock figure, was what did you say, like I keep saying, top 10 worthy or something like that. But it's again, I didn't have a White Queen in my collection, so she was she came out at the perfect time. All right, next elimination is going to be Storm. Storm, again, a figure that I didn't have, a character that I didn't have in my collection. So it's good that she came out. I've had plenty of chances to pick up other versions of Storm that have released since I started collecting. But my Marvel Legends collecting spree, you could say, basically started mostly with like last year and or 2.5 years ago. So, but this one came out previously, and then I had the option to either pick up the VHS version with the white suit, which is from the animated series. Um, but I could have gotten the X-Men 97 version of Storm. But the more I held out, I was hoping to someday pick up a Storm that I thought would, that I really liked. And then this one was it. Um, I really like the even though she doesn't have any eyes, but the way they did the face print on this one looks good. The way her hair looks. Um, Again, disappointed that they didn't give her the updated body, but you know, it's a decent Storm if you don't have one. Uh, Particularly if you like her version in the black suit, which is also a debate. Almost like the debate with Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man's suit actually blue and red, or is it black and red with blue highlights? Or for the blue to represent the blue as highlights of the black? Or is a Storm suit actually black and the white suit is just a representation of the black reflecting the light? So, so yeah, there's much debate about whether Storm's suit is actually black or white, or does she have two versions? But again, decent Storm would have benefited from the updated female body mold. They didn't give it to her, so probably would have made a top 10 if they did, because I really like that head sculpt. It almost kind of looks like Beyonce, just a little bit, or maybe a little Rihanna. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right. Next up, we are going to take out the elephant in the room, Maximum Hulk. I never did a review of this figure. I didn't even plan on getting this figure after all of the after the initial the reveal and subsequent reviews and all of that. But the figure went on discount on Amazon Mexico. So I got him on discount for like $10 less than retail price. Is his normal price. Still a little too much given how much reuse the figure is. But I didn't have a Hulk in my collection, and the figure hasn't really gone on discount at the same price that I got him. So in the midsummer. So here he is. Now, for I can understand why people complained in terms of like reusing older parts, because again, he's not pinless as far as the knees go, and reuse as far as the most of the body, and then the rubbery upper chest and all of that. So far, mine has been in good condition. He hasn't torn. What you saw here, this. Oop, 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 oop. Let me fix that. What you see here is just rubbing from the articulation going back and forth here as you move the arm forward and backwards. So that's just rubbing off right there. But as far as like I've seen other people post their updates on the figure where he's beginning to tear in parts of the in parts of the of the rubber overlay here, particularly where let me see, because I remember seeing, I don't know if it was along the seam or around this part around here by the pectoral area. But yeah, but that's because a lot of people have keep them posed with like flexing the plastic, the overlay. So I keep them pretty much neutral. And so far, other than this issue with the rubbing, um, nothing else has been an issue with the figure. Uh, Again, it's a little sideways. So yeah, if like I said, if you now the head sculpt, um, it's it's not my ideal Dale Keown head sculpt that I would have preferred that came with this figure. Um, but um, but it's my favorite one out of the ones that they did give us. So I wasn't particularly fond of the Ed McGuinness and then the Mike Diodato, right? So those are the other two head sculpts that came with the figure, and it's but Dale Keown's Hulk is my favorite version of the character, so this is why I chose this one, but it's still not like the ideal Dale Keown head sculpt that I would have used for this figure. Um, and again, um, why still using swivel waist when it looks so ugly, like particularly on a figure like this, you know? Start using the double ball peg for the waist. Hasbro, please. So yeah, I mean, like I said, so I can see why a lot of people were complaining with this Hulk, since the Maximum Spider-Man was a completely new mold, and all they did here is just reuse 90% of the figure. They gave him a new upper body or the upper chest, and toe articulation. Wow. So yeah, I can see why a lot of people were disappointed. That's why I waited, hoping it would go on discount, and when it did, that's when I hopped on it. Saved $10. Still think it's too overpriced given that. Oh, and the accessories that they gave them. I mean, severely disappointing. So yeah, it's a good Hulk figure if you didn't have one in your collection, but definitely not worth the price. So if you are patient, and there's a rumored Gamerverse version for 2026, so let's see how that one comes out. So yeah, if you didn't have a Hulk, I mean, as long as you don't overly do the overlay, like I said, don't keep your figure posed permanently with the overlay flexed, your figure will be just fine. And also don't keep him like displayed in sunlight, right? So yeah. Next up, we are going to eliminate the She-Hulk. Again, good figure, decent. Definitely, I was a fan of the first release that used this body mold from last year, um, in her purple and white suit. So, but yeah, basically the same. It's the same mold, just different head sculpt, and a different uniform. With her Fantastic Four uniform. Um, if you didn't have the other one, and you pick this one up for your collection, it's a great option. I still picked up this one even though I had the other one because I just wanted to have the variety of having her in a different suit. Um, I'll probably do some repainting like I did on that one. Um, you know, just to, I don't know, to fit She-Hulk's uh, fashion style, you could say. So yeah, it's a good figure. The This little smirky raised eyebrow Uh, Face sculpt is pretty good. Nice, decent paint job. Well, I got a little smudge there by the neck. But, we already saw this figure last year. So, again, it just depends on what you got in your collection for this year. Is she top 10 worthy? I would say fringe, maybe top 11. What are we up to here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, she made the top 10. But like I said, even though I'm not eliminating them in any particular order, right? But yeah, she's a good figure to have in your collection for sure. Next up, we are going to take out Nick Fury. Now, tell me if you've heard this one before. I didn't have a Nick Fury in my collection. Um, Not like the most ideal Nick Fury that someone would want to have in their collection. He's not in like official Shield gear or anything like that. He's more in like a spy, uh, like in spy mode, you could say, undercover or something like that. But uh, but it could pass. I could probably repaint it into blue, the Shield blue and all of that. Um, but he would almost fit like a crossover for GI Joe, you could say, classified series. So yeah, it's not a bad mold for sure. Um, but again, we're back to the same thing though. They're still using the ab crunch. I don't believe he has. No, he does have the the butterflies. Um, but again, there's a much better figure coming uh, that I have, waiting to eliminate to talk all about what Marvel needs to. I'm sorry, what Hasbro needs to do going forward. So yeah, it's a decent Nick Fury if you didn't have one for your collection. Um, Obviously, I think a lot of people picked up this 2-pack for the Punisher. Um, so yeah, good figure. That's fine. Next up, we are going to eliminate Cable. Cable is a great figure, and I would put him in my top 5 if I was making them per ranking. I definitely feel like he's a top 5 worthy action figure. He looks like the Cable from the comics, maybe not as aged, from in his 90s look. He's definitely not as detailed like the most normal Marvel Legends, because the X-Men 97 line is supposed to be a representation of the cartoon and not the comics. But so most of the features are a little smoother, right? Not as realistic. You can see like the muscle definition isn't as tight. It's a little softer sculpting. But if you don't have a Cable in your collection, like I do, he fits perfectly fine as part of your X-Men roster. Now, one of the things that I do hate is how, look at this gun is bent. The soft plastic of these these Marvel Legend figures. Excuse me. But yeah, he's a good figure. I mean, if you need a Cable, this is a good Cable to have for sure. I'm definitely gonna repaint the metallic arm. Maybe retouch overall the entire figure with some shading. But yeah, this figure is definitely a must-have. One, if you're an X-Men fan. too if you're a Cable fan. So yeah, definitely pick this guy up. Um, yeah, definitely. Next elimination is going to be dun 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 Omega Red. Omega Red is a figure I didn't have in my collection, so it's a character that I had in my collection. So it's good that he came in that War Machine 2 pack because it kills two birds with one stone. But also, Omega Red is one of the cooler characters in the Wolverine Rogues Gallery. So he'll make a fine addition if you didn't have the previous release. Um, I believe this version was slightly updated um, in terms of like the paint um, to be more like the 90s version, which is what the Marvel vs. Capcom game based their version off of. So I believe this is closer to that. But like I said, decent. I really like the head sculpt on this guy, what they did. So and the ponytail is posable, sort of. It rotates. But yeah, um, mm, again, just outdated. It's just an outdated body mold, though. So that's the only negative about this figure. But other than that, everything about it is a solid 8. You could say. All right, we are now down to the last 6 figures. All right, we're down to the last 6. And any one of these 6 figures, I think, will make most top 10 lists for 2025. And I definitely agree. All of these figures have something a little extra that puts them over all the others. Like I said, I kind of have an idea which ones are going to be my top 2. Well, I mean, I definitely know which ones are going to be the top 2. I don't know which one I'm going to pick. I'm telling you the truth. I don't know which one is going to be number 1 because in my mind, I'm still going back and forth. Back and forth. But the next figure to be eliminated from the list, and again, it has nothing to do for like the particular order. But and realistically, I'll probably would pick this figure as number 3 for 2025. The Juggernaut. Oop. Okay, I had to do some rearranging because if you saw the Psylocke fell, and might as well just rearrange the entire thing so that we can get Juggernaut here in frame. So yeah, a lot of people, a lot of the videos so far that have come out that I've seen that are starting to do their top 10s for 2025, in particular for Marvel Legend figures. I've seen a couple of people pick Juggernaut as their number 1 or, top 3, top 2. And I definitely agree. I think the Juggernaut figure, other than him not having a waist twist, which is fine. But again, I would rather, they gave him a double ball peg for the waist, and that way he has complete rotation, not just on the upper diaphragm. But the figure itself is imposing, like the Juggernaut, how the Juggernaut should be. Um, the shoulders might be a little too spread out. I probably would have had the shoulders maybe slightly a little closer to the butterfly, um, but or have the butterfly and his upper neck muscles and the back muscles and all that. I probably would have had it more overlap into the shoulder itself, as opposed to having the shoulder completely exposed, just so that it looks a little more better proportioned. Um, but other than that, oh, I think his knee is. I'm sorry, his thigh here is. There we go. So yeah, so like I said, he's a great figure. If you like me, if you don't have a Juggernaut in your collection, this is probably the Juggernaut you want for your display. Um, you know, he's got the size, he's got the mass. He's actually quite posable um, for his size. For what you need him to do, he gets you there. And the accessories that he came with are perfectly fine. That's this little blast effect that I have him permanently on. All you have to do is remove the knuckle duster from his hand and apply the effect here. And but yeah, he's the face sculpt is perfect. He doesn't require. I mean, uh, Juggernaut is not supposed to turn his head because the helmet is supposed to be in place, but you can turn his head. But supposedly he can look side to side. But anyway, the point is the Juggernaut figure is a monster, and I love it. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that everything is new. I don't know if they reused anything from other previous releases or other type of figures that are of equal size. I don't know, uh, but um, but yeah, I definitely love this guy, and he is a hefty boy. So for yeah, he almost weighs almost like as much as a newborn baby, and but yeah, I love this figure. I love it, and I probably would put him somewhere in the top three. All right. So next up, uh, I'm trying to keep this dramatic, but also since, like I said, I already know which ones are gonna be like the final two. I want to see what people's reactions would be, as for which one is going to be eliminated next. And I am going to take out Captain America. This is a before this figure. I thought the Secret Wars Captain America, which I showcased early in the video, and I'm looking for, but he's under a pile of all the figures. Let me see. There we go. I'll just put them side by side. Okay. So what this Captain America, the Gamerverse Captain America, does is that they gave him the upper chest, a new upper chest, which is more proportioned to like comic book standards, as opposed to the Secret Wars, where he's buff, but not as buff as Gamerverse. So even though he doesn't have the chainmail texture on the suit like he normally would, that's fine in my opinion. For my taste, it's fine. Maybe for you, it's not. The colors definitely. The red, white, and the blue are more symbolic of the true colors of his suit, as opposed to the Secret Wars. Um, they still gave him a small a shield. This shield that I gave that's on the Secret Wars is from the Ultimate Captain America. That's why it's bigger. And he doesn't have the shattered one. Um, but basically, the rest of the figure is the same as this. You can see that they share the same leg molds, but they do have different boots. You can see how the boots are molded differently. I think the gloves are the same, but definitely he has new arms because again the shoulders don't have the textured chainmail and all of that. So but I do like I definitely prefer this face expression with the gritted teeth as opposed to the screaming head. So, but just how I had him currently posed in my display, I had him charging with the shield in front. So I just had him with the angry, with the screamy face. But I would have preferred this head sculpt for this version of Captain America. And yeah, like I said, I think most of us picked up that two pack with Venom for the Captain America because he is mostly just, even though it's partly reused, but still updated. And like I said, they updated the upper torso. Again, I would have preferred that they eliminated the ab crunch for a double ball peg system. But he's definitely a great Captain America um, to have on your display as your main Captain America. If you already have previous versions, and then you know, it's up to you to pick which one is your favorite. For me, this is definitely my favorite Captain America in my collection, and that would be the third Captain America that I have. Because, like I said, I still have this one, and I have the Ultimate Cap, and I like the Ultimate Captain America. I actually like that figure a lot as well. But for like your standard, comic book traditional comic book Captain America, this figure is it for sure. All right, so who are we eliminating next? I'm going to take out my most recent pickup, which is the Punisher. Punisher would have probably made my top. Well, he did make it in the last four, but as far as if I was ranking, I would probably pick him five, right next to the Captain America. I didn't pick up the two pack with what's his face, the other guy, but the Punisher that came with the black suit. I missed out on that one. Um, but when I saw that they were releasing this guy and with Nick Fury, I said, instead of trying to chase that one, the other two pack with the black suit, um, and have I forget who's the other character. I'll flash it on the screen. That came with that two pack. This one that came with a Nick Fury. Nick Fury is actually a character that I'm more familiar with. So I said, okay, I'll wait for this one to come out, and I'll pick this one instead. Again, it doesn't bother me that the suit is a blue and not the black one. Uh, but overall, this figure is actually really good. I actually prefer the skull print on this one than the one that came with the black suit. The face, I actually again I have one with the green teeth look, but the other face sculpt, I actually prefer this one over the one that came with the black suit. Um, and overall, this figure is again, the only detriment to this figure is that they're still using the antiquated ab crunch, uh, you know, but he doesn't even. I don't believe he has a waist turn. No, he doesn't. So he just has the upper diaphragm, right, for the ball peg. But other than that, this figure is a solid. He does have the butterfly and all of that. So again, other than this white paint that I'll probably remove later, um, uh, this Punisher is actually a really good, solid 8.59 as a figure. The only detriment is he doesn't have a ball pegged waist. But yeah, super awesome. And now we're down to three. And quickly going to eliminate down to two because the figure that I'm going to pick out next is the Psylocke. So, like I mentioned when I was talking about the Thanos, the I think most people picked up that 2 pack for the Psylocke. Again, I did not have a Psylocke in my collection, but I'm glad I waited and I didn't pick up either like older versions or maybe even the Mafex for my X-Men collection. Um, so, um, so yeah, this Psylocke is probably going to be hard to beat by any company, even Marvel. If they did, the only way this figure can be improved is if they gave her, a double ball peg torso and improve, because that's the only thing that's the only thing left to do, or as far as this mold of the character. Um, she has the perfect face. I mean, this is the angry expression face with the hair in motion. But the other face sculpt, the neutral one, is perfect. They gave her the updated Black Widow body with the butterflies and the ab crunch. They gave her meaty thighs. The figure is just, you know it's a the only thing to make this figure perfect was that some of the paint issues, like some you can see right there in the shoulder, how the mold doesn't really, you know seem close together, right? So that's the only issue with the paints. But if everything was done as it should have been, this figure would have been a 10 for sure. Well, a 9.5, because again, she doesn't have a waist rotation. The only rotation that you have is at the upper diaphragm. So, but yeah, this figure definitely worthy of being in. If you have her as your number one, your number two, your number three, yeah, I'm not gonna say, oh, that's a bad pick. Definitely worthy of being a figure of the year, candidate. And so we are now down to the final two: Gamerverse, Wolverine, and Maximum Spider-Man. Now, in case you're noticing, the Maximum Spider-Man does have a different head sculpt. This is a head sculpt that I bought off of. I'll put the name of the buyer on Instagram in case you're interested. Um, but he had different type of McFarlane style head sculpts, and he's the one that I picked. I'm sorry, let me start over. I was looking for an updated head sculpt that was a little more McFarlane-ish than the one that came with the Maximum Spidey. The one that came with the figure is fine. It's a good representation. It's not the true McFarlane style head sculpt, but it's doable, right? And I did the entire paint myself. Just in case you want to see it up close. There you go, my dogs. Right. So yeah, this is definitely more McFarlane than the head sculpt that came with the figure. I also added the matte coat finish on the Maximum Spider-Man. I also fixed the thing with the spider legs in the back. They're no longer exposed on the shoulders. I just repainted uh, over the spider legs, right? So yeah, in case you're noticing, I'm talking a lot about the Maximum Spider-Man and what I did to it, because even though it is the best representation of Spider-Man that we've had, of a McFarlane Spider-Man in the modern era. If you prefer the old Toy Biz mold, that's a little more lanky looking. Um, uh, some say that's the perfect McFarlane Spider-Man, and I wouldn't argue with you if you picked that one because the Maximum Spider-Man still has some flaws with it, and that's why my number one figure for 2025 is the Wolverine, the Gamerverse Wolverine. But let me just talk a little bit about what the Gamerverse Wolverine does better than that the Spider-Man should do. So they gave the Wolverine something that I've been mentioning a lot in the video, the ball peg waist, something that Hasbro needs to implement ASAP for all of its figures. Look at this ab crunch. That's perfect. Perfect. And that's the typical, this is the type of ab crunch that you would want for any figure, but particularly figures that need like the special, for instance, Wolverine, who crouches a lot, right? But also Spider-Man. Spider-Man would kill to have this articulation. If Maximum Spider-Man had if the Maximum Spider-Man had the ball pegged waist instead of the typical ab crunch with the diaphragm cut up top. Yeah, he bends nicely and all of that, but you can't turn him at the waist. You can't turn them at the waist. So what's good? So even though yes, I can turn them at the top, but most of us turn our body at the waist as well. So it would have made this figure even way better and probably even more worth the price, the $50 that we all had to pay. Meanwhile, this guy, the Wolverine, yes, he was hiding behind that, and also a $60 paywall for the 2 pack, right, to get him. Um, but I think in the end, the Wolverine is the better figure. Also, I did, like I said, I think I did mention it. I added a dull coat on the on a matte coat on the Maximum Spider-Man, and now he looks more in line like how the figure should look. It's not too shiny, and in the bar in this lighting, you can tell he's almost like shaded like the comic book, fairly dark in the recessed parts, and the blue shines through when hit by the light. You know, so and also he still has the old butterflies, whereas Wolverine now has rotational shoulders, like the McFarlane figures. So you can actually raise and lower the shoulders, although I wish the cut on the shoulder would have been higher. There we go. The cut for the shoulder would have been higher, and it's probably something that I'm going to do so that he has better range going upwards, right? I mean, all he does is this typical T pose, right? But the shoulders, which is one of the main problems with most Marvel Legends, is that the shoulders are set too low instead of being higher. So if they would implement the shoulders using the ball peg rotation for the shoulders and allow you to have flexibility, not just going forwards but up and down, the Maximum Spider-Man would have been the perfect figure for 2025. And for the longest time, I had him as my number one figure of 2025. But the Gamerverse Wolverine just took the cake in the end, even though his knees are different colored yellow than the rest of the suit. But the figure itself is, I mean, some people would say, he doesn't have double jointed elbows, so that's a minus, but he still gives you perfect bend at the elbow that you need to pull off your Logan Wolverine poses, right? Plus, in combination with this amazing app crunch, right? You can get them in these hyper crouched poses that Wolverine does, normally, and I mean, this is it. This is the most perfect Marvel Legends figure that they have produced to date. I don't know what more. Well, I mean, I already explained what more they could have done to maybe done better with the shoulders. Um, as far as the mold goes, is perfect. Um, some people complain that he's a little too large, but I mean, come on. Compared to the here I have him right here. Compared to the Secret Wars, which uses the previous new mold from Wolverine that we got in the X-Men 97 line with the blue and the tiger stripe, the blue and yellow. I mean, are you really going to complain because he's slightly taller? But when you look at the proportions of this guy compared to this guy, you're gonna tell me that you still prefer this one? You're crazy, especially with the outdated um, articulation. So yeah, um, for me, hands down, this is the best figure of 2025 in terms of Marvel Legends. Yeah, and I think a lot of people might have this figure as their number one as well. Um, but again, I can't complain if you pick, either the Juggernaut or the Maximum Spider-Man or the Captain America or the Punisher or the Psylocke. Any one of those figures could have been figure of the year, but definitely this Wolverine. It's the template for how Hasbro should handle their Marvel Legends figures going forward. The exaggerated comic book proportions, the the new articulation for the shoulders and the torso with the double ball peg. This is the template. This is the figure to beat in 2020 for any new release in 2026. This is the gold standard, and hopefully, um, the designers at Marvel for the Marvel Legends team have this guy up on display as inspiration, as the figure to beat. Can we top Gamerverse Wolverine in 2026, 27, 28, and so on? So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know, do you agree that the Gamerverse Wolverine is the best figure Marvel Legends in 2025? If not, comment below what your favorite figure was for the Marvel Legends line in 2025. But yeah, Marvel Legends, Gamerverse Wolverine, um, number one all the way. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.